Today I'm going to be trying to answer some of the mysteries surrounding this NFT business. I'm going to be doing my best to explain to you guys what an NFT is, showing you guys how you can actually buy one, and sharing my own personal experience with trying to buy my first NFT, because there are definitely mistakes that you guys can make when trying to get into this whole NFT madness. And I definitely made some of these mistakes, so I'm hoping with sharing my own personal experience with you guys that, well, I can save you some money. Just like our sponsor wants to save you some money. This video is brought to you by CDK Deals. CDK Deals is a website that provides games and other software for a really good price. And right now, you can get a Windows 10 Pro key for under $17. Just apply my special discount code, receive 25% off, and check out securely with PayPal. Once the payment is cleared, you'll be given a code in your account as well as an email. To activate, all you need to do is search Activate in your Windows search bar, click the Activate settings, and type in your key. To learn more, check the links below. What the heck is an NFT and how can I buy one? This is probably one of the biggest questions going around right now. A lot of curious folk are wondering why people are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for a simple photo or video that can easily be copied by simply right-clicking them or screenshotting them. The entire idea of it just sounds absolutely crazy. Now, while I agree with this sentiment, I do understand what an NFT actually represents. And it's a bit more complicated than just a simple photo or video. So what exactly is an NFT? Well, by definition, an NFT is a unit of data that is stored on the digital ledger called the blockchain that certifies a digital asset to be unique and therefore not interchangeable. NFTs can be used to represent items such as photos, videos, audio, and some other types of digital files. Now, access to any copy of the original file is restricted to the buyer of the NFT. While copies of these digital files and items are available for anyone to obtain, NFTs are tracked on the blockchain to provide the owner with a proof of ownership that is completely separate from copyright. Now, obviously, that's a very by-the-book definition of what these NFTs are, so to put it very simply, an NFT is just a way to say, I am the owner. This is mine, I own this. A proof of authenticity, so to speak, in the digital realm. But to help you guys further understand as to what these NFTs actually are and some of their use cases, I'm going to break this down into two different parts. Starting off with our first category, these are going to be what I would refer to as simple NFTs. Now, these NFTs have really no use case, and you guys have probably seen these things here before, these little 8-bit figurines. Now, this particular one is Jay-Z, supposedly, is supposed to be him, and he paid about $160,000 for it. I believe that's right. If I'm wrong, I'll put it up there. These things have really absolutely no use case. These things are nothing but a flex or status symbol to say that I have money. The only use case these things have is just being collecting items, I suppose, or a bartering type of item. So you can sell to people that, like Jay-Z, I guess, because they waste money. I don't know. These things have no use case. These are simple NFTs. Now, our next NFT gets a bit more complicated, and I'm going to be referring to these NFTs as complex NFTs. These are still going to be digital files. They can be audio, video, photos, some sort of virtual figurine, much like our previous one. But these things are not just limited to being listened to or looked at, much like our last NFT. These NFTs are capable of being brought into a metaverse native to the platform that they were created and can allow the player or owner to use their digital asset within the platform's virtual space. Now, that may not make a lot of sense, but I'm going to be referencing a movie to make this easier to understand. Ready Player One is a fantastic example of these types of NFTs, and in this movie you are in a virtual world referred to as the Oasis, and with your avatar you're able to buy different things in this universe, such as skins, weapons, vehicles, things of this nature, but you're also able to turn around and sell these items to other players within the metaverse. Now, in order to ensure that these items that are being sold to these other players within these metaverses, a token of authenticity needs to be present to verify that the item is what it's saying that it is, and that this can actually be transferred by the player that's claiming to own it in the first place. This is why I refer to these NFTs as, well, complex. Now, obviously, we are not to the point where we have achieved this technological wonder such as the Oasis in this movie, but this is just to give you guys an example of what the future could hold for these NFTs. Different communities and developers are creating their own games using this NFT technology, allowing players to come into these games and take complete charge of their own avatars, giving them the freedom to buy and to sell items within this metaverse, giving true ownership to the player and adding a completely different dynamic to the game where one could quite literally play games and earn money off of the game's environment. Now, I realize it's a lot to throw at you guys, and some of you may not completely grasp what an NFT is just yet, but you're still wanting to know how to buy one. And in most cases, to actually buy NFTs, this is going to require what is known as a digital wallet. This is a place which you would actually store your cryptocurrencies, and it would take those crypto tokens and allow you to make transactions on the blockchain to make these purchases for these NFTs. Now, one of the most commonly used for this, at least that I have run into, is known as MetaMask. MetaMask is one of the most commonly used digital wallets for these NFT marketplaces, and you can actually add this to your desktop or as a Chrome extension or your 10th page of apps on your phone. So if you got your MetaMask set up and you're ready to go, but where do you actually buy NFTs? Well, there's lots of different websites and platforms that you can find these NFTs on, but if I were you, I would recommend that you start with OpenSea.io. This website is probably one of the biggest marketplaces that exists for NFTs currently. This is where you would find a lot of the high-profile NFTs that some of you may have heard of and are able to buy right here for lots of money. Trying to buy NFTs on OpenSea.io can be quite expensive, especially if the project has been on the market for a while, a few months, and has really picked up some interest and popularity, especially like these Bored Apes here, which the floor price is 13 Ethereum. And at the time of filming this, that equates to $40,000. But I don't have that kind of money. Well, quite honestly, neither do I. So it's best to try to get in on these NFT projects prior to them launching and trying to find the initial launch days for them when they go through their process known as minting. Now, usually what this entails is giving a project item a randomized set of traits and assigning it a place on the blockchain, giving it its signature or certificate of authenticity during these drops. Finding new projects is going to take a bit of searching and asking around, but you'll usually find that trying to get in on these initial launches of these projects can, well, be quite cheaper than the secondhand market. But there are also some things that can happen during these initial launches that you should be aware of, and well, that brings me to my experience of buying my first NFT. Now, I'm hoping with sharing my experience with you guys that you'll be able to avoid the mistakes that I made when trying to buy my first NFTs. Now, I have spent a lot of time this week trying to find the perfect NFT project to become a part of because TikTok has annoyed me for the last time about getting into these NFTs and trying to become a part of the prestigious NFT game that's going on. So I decided I wanted to do this. I just had to. For you guys, and for me in my pockets. After scouring the internet and trying to find a good project to become part of and dip my toes into this NFT world, I landed on a project known as Vox. But unbeknownst to me, I had so much more to learn about this NFT game. So much more. This project reminded me of Minecraft, but after playing in their metaverse game, it really gave me Stardew Valley vibes. At any rate, I set up my MetaMask, connected it to the site, sent over what I believed to be enough Ethereum to buy the project for the next day, and I waited. And I waited. Like a good little boy, I waited for the countdown to go down to 0 with my wallet connected, enough to buy the item, but I couldn't. I couldn't buy the item, and there were 8,888 of these NFTs, and all I wanted was one. For whatever reason, the company decided that they were going to put a password on this buy, on this drop, and nowhere was this mentioned on their webpage or in their Discord, but it said that this is for early adopters and this password will be disabled in 10 minutes. Well, as a project becomes more and more popular, these things sell out fast. And I mean so fast that in fact 10 minutes is an absolute eternity, and you have no chance at getting them at launch if you wait that long. So if it wasn't for the saint that decided to leak the password on the Discord, a lot of people outside of the dev team would have had absolutely no chance, if any, to get any of these Vox drops that happened. Now, this is my first time buying an NFT, so I had no idea that this type of foul play was something that could even have happened. I had no clue. But nonetheless, the dev team made a ton of money reselling these things on OpenSea.io. It's kind of BS. Now, I don't tell you this to try to make you feel bad for me. I tell you this so you know that this is something that can happen when you're trying to get into these NFT projects. Some of these companies might do some backhanded BS like this. So when you try to get into these NFTs, make sure you do your research and search for projects that have a good following and community behind them. That way, if greed becomes the gold standard, they can possibly get boycotted and shut down and make nothing on their project if they decide to do some stuff like this one did. You're just bitter you got locked out of the project. You're right, I am. But if you've seen my GPU videos, you know that I don't give up that easy. I'm resilient. So I did a lot of searching and studying, and I came across a project called Junkyard Dogs. Junkyard Dogs is a recent project that looks fairly promising, and this is going to be one of those complex NFTs that is going to have a metaverse built around it and allow holders to eventually breed and earn with their NFT characters in the future. Currently, it has a community of 8,000 members, and it appears to have steadily grown, and because it's so new and does not yet have the metaverse live, it may be a great opportunity to get in on the floor. I was able to get in on the initial launch of this project, and in doing so, I was able to save myself a little bit of money. And I say a little bit of money because I wasted a lot of money in gas fees. It was my first time buying with Ethereum, and this is very easy to do when you're dealing with Ethereum trying to make a transaction. Now, this is one of the reasons I absolutely hate Ethereum, and I think it's a terrible currency, and I don't know how you maxis out there love it so much, because this gas stuff is absolutely abysmal, and you cannot convince me otherwise. It's ridiculous. And for those of you guys that don't know what gas fees are for Ethereum or what this means, just think of companies that like to charge you a convenience fee for using your credit card to pay a bill. It's basically that, just way worse. So if you guys do decide to get into this NFT world and want to try to get into these initial launches, guys, just be aware that these gas fees are absolutely abysmal. They're ridiculous. I had to pay $100 in gas on top of the initial cost of the item itself. So $100 plus the initial cost. And I'm here to tell you right now, it can get much higher than $100. That Vox drop that I talked about earlier, guys, the gas price shot up to as high as $1,500. That's not the cost of the item. That's just to be able to complete the transaction. So a $1,500 convenience fee. I guess it's a good thing I didn't have the password for that Vox drop. But this is something that is very critical dealing with gas, and you should definitely know. Any transaction that you initiate, it is going to take a fee from you. Even if that transaction doesn't go through, that gas is gone. It's gone. You no longer have it. You have forfeited that gas by initiating that transaction. So to give you guys an example, if you were to gotten in on this Vox launch and paid that $1,500 in gas to make the transaction go through, and the freak occurrence happened that the transaction got approved at the same time that they ran out of supply, well, that transaction just failed and your $1,500 is gone. Sorry about you. Bye-bye to your gas. But hey, you can have back the cost of the item that you put in. This actually happened to a buddy of mine when we tried to get into the Junkyard Dog initial launch, and I know that it's pics or it didn't happen with the internet, so here's your pics because it happened. And I know that it's not the $1,500 in gas, but all the same, this happened, and it can happen regardless of the gas price that you were to have paid. And one of the best ways to avoid losing your gas fee or wasting your gas fee is actually overpaying your gas fee. When you are in one of these time of the essence type of transactions, it's going to be important that you get your transaction pushed through as fast as possible so you actually get the item that you're paying for. But I don't recommend that you go with the predetermined fast setting. It's going to be in your best interest to edit that and pay $10 to $20 more than whatever the recommended is, because this is going to give you a better chance at having your transaction actually go through and you getting the item that you're after, as well as paying a little bit more in gas. In my eyes, that's a little bit better than paying the gas and getting nothing. So that's just my opinion. But Ethereum gets a little bit better because you do want to also make sure that you don't just spam click the buy button when you're trying to make transactions on the blockchain like this, because, well, you might have guessed it, but you will have to pay gas on every one of those transactions that you initiated just to cancel it. So you got to pay to cancel your transaction, even though it didn't go through. So keep that in mind. I know Ethereum's great. So if you guys are going to be trying to get into the NFT space, just know it's going to take some pockets. And there's a chance that you could waste a decent amount of gas in the process. This was my attempt at trying to explain what NFT was, sharing with you guys how you can buy them, and my experience with buying them so you could hopefully not make the same rookie mistakes that I did in trying to buy an NFT. If you got some sort of value out of this video, please consider hitting that like. It definitely tells YouTube that I'm a decent YouTuber, and they put my videos out there for more people to see, and I potentially get the chance to help somebody else. On this channel, we do tech news, how-tos, and reviews, and PC builds. If that's stuff that interests you at all, please hit that subscribe. And remember, it's a vibe, a tech vibe. Specifically, we'll see you.